How's everyone doing today? It's Heisennburgg here. So today I thought I would show you guys how to download and install Insomnia ENB. But before we get started, I thought I would show you guys that it's meant to work with enhanced lights and effects and revamped exterior fog, and it is incompatible with climates of Tamriel, realistic lighting overhaul, real lighting Skyrim, and pure weather. So basically any weather mod or lighting mod other than ELFX it is not compatible with. And the Mindflux particle patch is highly recommended for this. So if you don't have those mods installed, or if you have Climates of Tamriel installed, I just deactivated all of them. So I would go ahead and do that before you get started installing this ENB. So I guess we can get started now. First thing we're going to do is we're going to install the binary files. And it uses the 254 binary, so down here under installation, number 1, we're going to right click on the click here to download, and we're going to click an open link. We're going to click open link in new tab. And then news, download, TES Skyrim, and I'm going to go ahead and use the 262 because that's the closest to 254, or the newer version anyway. So click on 262 and then scroll down to the bottom until you see the download arrow and click download. And you need something that manages archives, whether it would be WinRAR or 7-zip, and I'm obviously using WinRAR, so they're both free, so pick your poison. I know 7-zip the steps would be a little bit different from what I'm doing, but it's typically the same process. Alright, so once you get a pop-up like this, we're going to go to our desktop, and we're going to hit backspace, and then we're going to drag and drop the archive on our desktop, and we'll come back to this in just a second. So we can close out of the ENB dev page because we're done, and then we're going to scroll to the top of the page, and then we're going to click the Files tab. And then under Main Files, you're going to see Default, Performance, and Quality. I'm going to choose the quality version, but just because I can. But if I were you, I would choose Default or Performance. So whatever version you're deciding to choose, click Download manually. And then click Continue with my download. And then once you get a pop-up like this, just like you did with the binary, click backspace, and then drag and drop it onto your desktop. And then real quick, let me check something before I proceed. Alright, so now we're going to locate our Skyrim folder. If you have an icon on your desktop, an easy way to find it is you can right click it and you can click Open File Location, and it'll take you right to it. Or you can open up Nexus Mod Manager and click this little orange folder and click Open Game Folder, and it'll take you right to it. Basically, where Skyrim Launcher and TESV are located, that's your Skyrim folder. Just please make sure you're not in your data folder. So, we can go ahead and minimize our Skyrim folder for right now. The step that I'm about to show you is completely optional. You don't have to do it, but I highly recommend it because it just makes your life a whole lot easier. So what we're going to do is we're going to right click on the binary and we're going to click Extract to ENB Series Skyrim 262. And it's basically going to make it into a folder. And then we're going to do the same thing for the ENB archive. Right click, extract to Insomnia ENB quality. And then if you decided to do this step, you can delete the archives. And then now we're going to bring up our Skyrim folder. And we're going to open up the binary folder. And we're going to click the wrapper version. And we're only going to be needing 2 files out of here, which is the d3d9.dll file and the enbhost.exe file. And we're going to copy those. And then we're going to paste them into our Skyrim folder. And then we can delete the binary because we're not going to need it anymore. and then we can open up the Insomnia ENB folder. And then as you can see, you're going to have all of these files in here. You're going to highlight everything except for the data folder. Leave the data folder unhighlighted. I'll show you what to do with that. And right click, copy, and then paste them into your Skyrim folder. And then for the data folder, we're going to right click it and we're going to click add to archive, and we're going to name it Insomnia ENB data. And this is going to make it into an archive so that we can run it through our mod manager. So then we can drag and drop this onto our desktop and then go back into our mod manager and click add mod from file and click Insomnia ENB data, and it's going to add it in there, and then we can activate it. So doing this, we basically don't have to drag and drop all the data files manually into our data folder, so that's really cool. Alright, so now that we've pretty much installed all the ENB files, we're going to have to tweak some INI settings first, and I'll show you where to find that. So click My Documents, My Games, and Skyrim, and you'll see Skyrim.ini and SkyrimPrefs.ini, but if you don't see the .ini there, don't worry about that. Your operating system just hides file extensions. So we're going to open up the SkyrimPrefs.ini, and the first thing we have to tweak is bfloat point render target. Make sure that equals 1. So what we're going to do is we're going to click Control-C to copy it, and then go back to Notepad, Control-F to find it, and then Control-V to paste it. And as you can see, mine already equals 1, so we can move on to the next one. Control-C, Control-F, Control-V. Control-C, Control-F, Control-V. Control-C, Control-F, Control-V. Alright guys, so once you've edited all your INI settings you need to edit, you go up to File and Save. And now we're going to locate our ENB local files, which is in your Skyrim folder. So again, where we copied and pasted all the ENB files, go back to there and locate a file called ENBLOCAL. And we're going to open that up. And basically the settings that we need to edit, sorry I had a brain fart, is VIDEOMEMORYSIZEMB and RESERVEDMEMORYSIZEMB. RESERVEDMEMORYSIZEMB, I'm going to change mine to 512, but if you have under 3 gigabytes of VRAM, just leave it at 256. And then VIDEOMEMORYSIZEMB is how much VRAM your system has, and I have 3 gigabytes, so I'm going to do 3072. And if you don't know what the correct number is, I would suggest Googling it, because these two settings are very important. They have to be configured to your system, otherwise you will run into a lot of issues. So once you've edited those two settings, go up to File, Save, and I'm going to run loot real quick before we go in game, because I had to mess with my load order. So the ENB is pretty much installed now. We can pretty much go in game. So let's go in game. Oh shit. Okay, cool. I'm glad this popped up. Real quick, before you go in game, you're gonna have to bring up the Skyrim launcher and disable some settings. So open up your Skyrim folder and click Skyrim launcher, and you'll get something that looks like this. Click Options, and make sure anti-aliasing is off, and make sure the AF is set to off as well. And then click OK. Alright guys, so if you get this message in your top left hand corner, that's a good sign. That pretty much tells you that you installed your binary files correctly. And it tells you if you press Shift Enter it'll bring up a menu, but for some reason that doesn't work for this ENB. And then if you press the star key on your number pad, it'll bring up your frames per second in the top left hand corner once this message goes away. But I'm gonna go ahead and load up my game. Hopefully I don't crash. Alright guys, so as you can see, this is Insomnia ENB. This is probably one of my favorites of all time. If you press Shift F12, it'll put it back to vanilla Skyrim. And yeah, press Shift F12 to put it back in the ENB. And like I said, this is one of my favorites. I'm gonna go ahead and go outside real quick, hopefully it doesn't crash. But if it crashes, you get the general idea of what this ENB is supposed to look like. I probably should have mentioned at the beginning of the video to save your game somewhere indoors. But yeah guys, this is Falscar with Insomnia ENB, and yeah, like I said, this is one of my favorite ENBs. It's great. It's one of my, it's just awesome. It's different. All the above. So yeah guys, this is Insomnia ENB. If you have any questions or you couldn't get it working right, just leave me a comment or send me a message and I'll be glad to help you. So if you have an ENB video that you would like me to show you how to install, just leave it in the comments and I'll be sure to do that for you. So again, this is Heisennburgg and I'll see you guys in the next one.